Hello and welcome to another episode of Hallmark. I'm Kristin.
I'm Aya.
And we are reviewing a Christmas love story today. And
Yay. Finally, a good one.
I am so glad. This is a brand spanking new Hallmark movie.
What are you talking about?
Isn't it?
No, it was like 2019.
Oh, it's new for us.
Yeah. I didn't know that Kristin Chenoweth, who is in this movie, did this.
No.
So that's new.
And it's only just been uploaded to Prime for us.
So, I mean, technically, it's new in a way. It's not new, but...
It's not new. It never is new here in Australia.
We get nothing.
Other than Angel Falls Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But yes, it has Kristin Chenoweth and Scott Wolf. I don't know if you guys all know Scott Wolf, but he was in Party of Five.
Right.
He's been in a few Hallmark movies. He's in a new movie coming out really soon, hopefully. Or if not already, with Lacey Chabert.
Right. Lacey Chabert, yes.
Their brother and sister. It's like a Highlands Christmas or whatever that one is.
Oh.
And thank goodness that they're playing siblings, because they played siblings on Party of Five, and that would have been real weird had we seen otherwise.
Yeah, true.
But I digress. What's this movie about, Aya?
This movie is about a Christmas love story. Is about a youth choir director, Kristin Chenoweth, needs to write a big song for the Christmas Eve show, but finds herself distracted when a boy with a golden voice, in brackets Kevin Quinn, who's the kid, joins her choir, which will come as news to his widowed father. And what's his name? Scott Wolf. So basically, yeah, she is an ex-Broadway star.
Yes.
Wow.
Naturally. She's really playing outside her field.
Yeah, who runs a youth choir, and she wasn't meant to write the big Christmas song for the end of the whatever concert she's putting on, but then turns out she has to. This boy comes in and volunteers to like help out backstage. Randomly, he starts playing the piano and singing, and she's like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you should join the choir. And then he does, and the father finds out, and she already had this like mini connection with the father in a taxi, and then the father's like, no, you need to focus on your academic life, no singing for you. And she basically like goes to their house to convince the father that the son should sing. Long story short, it happens. She's like, it's literally a week. Like, get over it, man. Like, this 1 week of rehearsals and concert will not affect your son's academic life. And the father went, true.
You make a good point.
So, meanwhile, the father and Kristin Chenoweth are like kind of connecting.
Yeah,
They're vibing, and it helps her write her little Christmas song. Oh, am I spoiling
Let's leave the spoiler to the end of the episode.
There's a spoiler in there. And then eventually they sing at the Christmas show, and there is a bit of, I want to say the conflict comes in with the spoiler.
Yes.
But naturally there's like a mini conflict of why they can't be together. It's not that bad. Like, it's not like, I hate you.
No.
You're a terrible person. We'll get to it. And they end up together.
The end.
That was
an episode. See you later.
Yeah, that was terrible. But like, that's it.
That's pretty much it. I think this movie is good in the sense that nothing is a huge deal. So I think you're like, the plot is not a huge deal, and nothing that happens in it. Everyone communicates very effectively.
Yeah, I quite liked this movie.
I really liked this movie.
I looking at the poster, I was like, I'm gonna hate this, and the only thing I might like is Kristin Chenoweth. Naturally, I liked Kristin Chenoweth in it. She was great.
She was really good.
But really liked the movie.
In the premise of the film, there's only 14 days between when we first start the film and the Christmas Eve concert. So at least we have a timeline from the very beginning. We know it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the concert, this is where it starts getting a little confusing, is that the concert is a fundraiser. So the original song that Kristin Chenoweth's character Catherine has to write is they sell it. They put it on Spotify. They sell it, and that the money that they get from the song, then funds the concert the next year.
Yeah.
So that is like, it's very full circle the whole time. The first bit we see her directing the choir. The kids all look like they're having a great time. They're not a bad choir. They sound really good.
Pretty good. Yep.
And then she goes to a fundraising dinner. I think it's a choir through the school, and she goes to a school fundraiser.
Well, is she a teacher?
She's a teacher, and she meets all these people who are like, you were on Broadway, and she's like, yeah, and they're like, why don't you write the original song? Like, why do you get someone else to do it? She's like, oh, because the person that usually writes it is a major pop star. Like, that's why it sells. And they're like, she's like, nobody knows me. And the woman she's talking to goes, Broadway never forgets. So as much as I like this film, there are still some great lines in it that I will take away. And
there's still like some cringy things.
Definitely.
Like, to be honest, the CGI in the opening scene really upset me. I was like, oh boy. And then we haven't spoken about like costume. I mean, we did in Angel Falls about Chad, but I remember when we first started doing the podcast, we focus a lot on the outfits.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a while.
No. Well, I guess lots of other things have taken up
focus.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I will make one comment about an outfit. Is the first scene, you kind of come in from behind, you see the choir and you see a woman conducting. I didn't realise that it was Kristen. I was like, who is this woman wearing this weird outfit? Because it was a very unflattering outfit that actually made her from behind look really old.
I don't remember the opening outfit.
It was like a red top. I don't know. It was just something about it. I didn't think it was her. I was like, oh no, that can't be her. That's a terrible outfit. It's not flattering. It makes it look like some, I don't know, older. Well, I don't even know what that means. And then it was Kristen. I went, oh,
her outfits for the rest of the film are pretty
good,
good,
and then it picked up.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked by that first outfit, but then everything else was really good. And then when she goes to the fundraiser, she had like a nice dress on.
Beautiful.
The end of the concert dress was beautiful.
Yeah. She wears some stunning dresses in this
Yeah,
movie.
she wear all of her other outfits were really good.
And suit her.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess I maybe have to go back and just see them. I don't
know.
remember
It was just something like I wouldn't usually notice. Feel like I would notice things like that, but I haven't really pointed things like that out in a while. But that really threw me off. I was like, nah, that can't be her. Yeah.
Yeah. We do see a lot. I think what I like about Catherine, or Kristen Chenoweth's character, is that she is a strong, independent woman, and she doesn't necessarily need to start seeing Greg, who's the Danny's dad. But it just kind of happens, and it happens naturally. But she's not forcing anything. She doesn't mind being alone for the holidays. It's a very like well-rounded character who is passionate about her job, but also makes time for her family and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. When it's suggested to her that she should write the original song by her kids, she's like, oh no, I know I couldn't. For the first like probably 20 minutes of the movie, it's very much Kristen Chenoweth being like, I don't have the skills.
But she literally wrote a musical.
But she wrote a musical
that was on Broadway, and that's why she's known for being on Broadway, for starring in the musical
for
that
doing a
she wrote.
Miranda.
Literally, she pulled a Lin-Manuel Miranda. And she's like, no, I couldn't write one song.
I couldn't. And then her kid says, one of the kids say, all you need is pen, paper, and a little inspiration. Isn't that what you always tell us? And I'm like, wow, strap in. This script writing's gotta be my favorite thing ever.
It's not a good line, because you need more than that, I would say.
Yeah. And even maybe not even pen and paper. You use whatever you want, mate. Well, a piano.
She used that pen and paper though when she was writing the song. She was like, I'm gonna write a treble clef on this page, and we're gonna note bash these notes out on a piece of paper.
I guess our meet cute moment
was pretty nice.
Happens kind of twice in this film. The meet cute happens between Greg and Catherine, and then there's kind of the meet cute between her and Danny, who is the kid who comes to volunteer, because it is important that they have chemistry.
Yeah.
So Danny, the first meet cute is Danny comes in and he's like, hey, I'm from this school, I'm here to volunteer for the day. And she's like, great, do you want to like do some menial tasks like clean costume cupboards and stuff? And he's like, yep, sure. And he's very like chill and happy to be there and happy to like sit around, and is really enjoying the choir, and he seems to be very engaged in the choir itself, which I guess we find out later is probably he's more engaged with Catherine than the choir. Anyway, he sits down and plays piano once everyone leaves. He's a musical prodigy, a secret pop star. He has never heard the song that he's playing before. He just sits down, he plays it, he sings it.
He was pretty average. Like, I don't know, if I heard that, I'd be like, oh, that's nice. But I wouldn't be like, you're amazing. But she's like, he sings and she's like, I didn't know you could sing. And he's like, me? Oh, I don't. But you do. You clearly do.
In the car. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what he says. He's like, I just sing in the car. I sing it, like, I don't really sing. But he, like, honestly comes out like full One Direction Christmas song style singing. Like, it's fun. We find out that Catherine is not married. She doesn't have children of her own. But and she doesn't have any family, but she spends a lot of time with her cousin and her cousin's child. And they take her niece, I guess we can call her in this scenario, to a toy store, and is like, your Christmas present is that you get to pick whatever you want in this toy store, which was kind of nice because my sister and I have done the same for our niece and nephew, where we like take them and we're like, this is your budget, this is how much money you get to spend, pick whatever you want. If you want 5 things, you want 5 things. If you want one big thing, you want one big thing. So that was nice. Like, I was like, that's very auntie life. Like, it makes it fun, and the kids are, and even the little girl in the movie, not bad. She's not in it a lot.
It's probably good.
She's just like, really? And I'm like, yeah, that's the reaction that you would get. Kristin Chenoweth is sitting at the piano, and she's procrastinating. And she gets a text message, and she sends one back, and then she out loud makes the sound of the text message goes, and you hear that sound, and then after it goes, she repeats it. And I was like, I do that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. If
Why?
something happens, and I'm like, whoop. I don't know. You just get it, like, particularly if you're in like creative procrastination mode. I was like, weird little moment, but I relate to it.
Yeah.
You know? And then we get the meet cute between her and Greg. So she, for the first time, she only takes taxis. This character only takes taxis. She's a New Yorker. New Yorkers take taxis. Or they walk. They don't do rideshare. No Uber, no Didi, no whatever you have in the States in terms of rideshare. She doesn't do it. But she's running late, and she never runs late. And so her music director is like, hey, what if you just use that app that I put onto your phone? Because taxi's going to take forever, but like rideshare, they're everywhere. And
but so are taxis.
Exactly. And so she's like, okay, I'll try it. And she's like, oh, a minute away? No way. And the car pulls up. She gets in, puts all her shopping in because she's gotten the costumes for the concert. And someone's like, oh. And she peers over the back, and there's Scott Wolf. And they're ride sharing together.
And that was a pretty...
And it's quite cute.
I thought it was a nice meet cute because there was no like... or like, you're in my car. Like, it was just like a nice conversation.
And he's like been shopping, and like, they just start having a chat, and they obviously like get along, but there's no pressure on it. There's no we're immediately in love. He makes a couple of jokes, she makes them back. She says Merry Christmas, takes her shopping, see you later.
He gives her a flyer as well, doesn't she?
She leaves one in the car.
She leaves one in the car, right.
And she's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm coming to visit my son, because he's doing this internship at this business firm, at whatever. It's not specific.
Yeah, because at this point, he's joined the choir.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he, eventually finds out that his son is not doing an internship, but in fact volunteering for the choir. And the same day he comes to pick him up, and he's like, well, at least you told me the right building. Like, you could have lied about everything, but you didn't. And so they re-meet, and Catherine's like, well, there is a spot open in the choir if he wants to join. And they don't live in New York.
No, that really confused me. I was like, wow, you live really far away.
And he's traveling like daily at this. They seem to have choir practice every day leading up to the concert. So he is living in Connecticut and traveling to New York.
But so is the father.
On a daily basis. And so is the dad. Then I'm like, maybe we could just, I don't know,
not
Airbnb.
Just do something else.
But when we walk in after the rideshare moment, we walk into rehearsal because a music director is like, I'm only good for playing the piano and running a warm-up, and we walk into the warm-up and I'm like, oh wow.
La 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 la.
It's just a bunch of kids, like, if you look, like, they're all singing the same notes. It's not the warm-up, it's like the panning across the whole choir, and some of them are like massaging their faces as they sing, and some of them are like shaking as they sing, and I'm like, classic choir kids.
Yeah, but do you know what annoyed me the entire time, because we see it a lot? Her conducting.
Yes,
her conducting. It's like, Kristen, you know what to do.
Yeah.
But it looks like you've never done it before in your life.
It's that, like, I'm just going to wave my hand side to side.
Yeah.
But there's no, like, real count to it. And I'm not going to... When I cut you off, they don't stop singing after the cut off. They keep going.
Yeah.
And then they all cut themselves off at the same time.
But,
and I'm
like, even what you... Because, like, I mean,
There's
I've
no
been in a choir,
dynamics.
you've been in a choir. Like, when another part is singing something different, usually you would, you know, be like... Sorry, this is very visual. Like, you would point to them, be like, and da da da.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that, yeah, it just felt really unnatural, and she was very stiff, and it was just really awkward to watch for someone who should really know how to do this.
I mean, conducting, I guess, is an art form in itself. Maybe. It's harder than it looks.
But also, I feel like naturally, if I was a choir director, I would be... I would know how to do it, but I'd be singing along with it. She's just like smiling and waving her arms. I was like, no.
Kristen, we love you. Well, truly.
Yeah.
But we needed more.
We did.
I was very confused about having to go to choir practice every single day.
Yeah.
But I guess they have but even if you have a show in 14 days, we're not at rehearsal for 14
but
days
also
straight.
Every time we saw them rehearsing, it was always, that was great, that was amazing. You clearly don't need rehearsals every day. There was no like, can we pick it up from bar?
Yeah.
Like, say something like that. We were struggling last time with this, let's run this section.
Yeah.
And then they do it and you go, oh, that was actually really nice, let's do it again. Like, anything rather than running a song from the beginning.
Want
just
reality.
make it, we want real, like it. And Kristen was an executive producer on this. She could have been like, actually, this is more realistic of how it happens. She literally knows what to do in these scenarios. And
Maybe
none of
they
that happened.
filmed some of those scenes and we didn't get them. They cut them.
I also feel like we're nitpicking.
We are, because it's such a good movie, and we
shouldn't nitpick about how to conduct a choir, but it was such a big thing in the movie. Like, it's hard to not call it out.
That's true. That is true. What I did like is, I've said it before, the creative procrastination was very realistic.
Is this when she's at her piano?
Well, not totally really. Yes, and she's like, I'm going to do literally anything else but the thing that I have taken time to sit down. What am I doing? My words have gone. I've taken the time to sit down and carve a moment to do this, and I have got nothing.
That moment was very... because basically what Kristen does is just be herself.
Yes.
And she just would go like,
yeah.
And then, and like just do all this random shit. And it gave me Girl in 14G moments, because she stands up on the piano still and like singing opera, and the upstairs neighbors like, be quiet.
Yeah.
So it gave me, if you know Kristin Chenoweth in that song, it gave me that. But it was just very Kristin Chenoweth to just randomly burst out into song. So I would love to know what the conversation was. Like, whether they asked her to do it, or whether she's like, I think what would be really good and really fun for the audience is if I did this.
I really hope they're just like, cameras rolling, do what you want.
Yeah.
That's what I hope. Because it felt very normal.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have to sit down and write a report, or you have to sit down and do something that has to come out of your brain and onto a piece of paper, we've all done it.
Yeah.
There's no way. Greg, who is Danny's dad, is very set on this plan. They've made a plan that he will stick to the plan. He's going to business school, blah, 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 blah. His wife has passed away in the last couple of years.
I have a problem with this.
You do.
I have a problem with the women, the wives, always being the dead ones. Like, sorry, that's not a very nice way of wording it. I'm sick of, it's always the husband who's the widow.
Yeah. So I think he's holding on to this plan because that is what she wanted and they had come up with it together. But at no point does he maybe ask questions of Danny, because Danny is obviously wanting to do other things.
Yeah.
He's looking up going to like Berkeley Music School and things that are not in the business realm.
Yeah.
So he's holding on just a little bit.
I'm kind of over the, I mean, it's a hard industry to be in, but the fact that like a kid can't have a hobby, like, no, you can only do academic things. You can only focus on your studies and getting into this. Like, it's just, the dad came off as a bit of a, like, he wasn't trying to be a jerk, but it was a bit of a jerk move, being like, no, you can't do this. We're gonna leave right now. You can't do this. Yeah, you can't do anything else.
And he very, very nice about it.
He's very nice, which makes him not a jerk. But I kind of like hate that narrative that some of these, it's not exclusive to Hallmark movies. It's just movies in general where they do this to kids, where it's like the kids have like a secret passion
or
for a dream for something musical, and the parents are immediately like, no, you can't do that.
I guess also we both grew up in households that were happy for us to do the extracurricular activities that we wanted to do.
But it was also very much for me like, but you have to focus on the academic side of things as well. Yeah, very much so.
Go to school and then do your singing, dancing, acting on the side.
As I said in like the kind of when I gave my own synopsis, it was literally, first of all, it was close to Christmas, so we were getting close to like holidays. Yeah. And it was less than 2 weeks at this point, or roughly 2 weeks, whatever. It doesn't matter. It wasn't like, it's not 6 months of this kid's time. It's literally a couple of days. Yeah. Just let him do it.
Just let him do it. And he does.
Sure, like
he does eventually.
He does eventually, but she has to go and convince him.
She drives.
Yeah,
to Connecticut. And then ends up spending time in their family home. Like, this is the point where I'm like, oh, what a boundary cross that is.
Yeah, because she calls him a few times. Yeah, the phone doesn't answer. So she's like, the next thing I have to do is go to your house.
Yeah, I have your address.
And then
turn up.
And at that point, he notices the missed calls and actually listens to a voicemail. Yeah. And then he's about to go call her again.
He's calling her as she's knocking on the door. Yeah. And he, again, is very nice, being like, oh, hello, come on in.
But he's not like, why are you here, strange lady? No. How did you get my address?
No. It's like, come into my house. Yeah. We will welcome you with open arms.
And boy, did they. They did. They really said, you want to live here?
Yeah. Basically. And once we find out the plot twist, Danny is probably the instigator of that. Look, there's a storm coming. Why don't you just stay here? Hey, we're going to go buy a Christmas tree. Do you want to come? And he is the one. And Dad is like, yeah, come along. Like, you're here. Might as well. You've driven all this way. You don't like driving. Stick around. Do you want a cup of tea? This was, again, one of my favorite bits, because the flavor of the tea is merry mint. Like, merriment. Yeah. And I was like, why do we not do Christmas themed teas?
Yeah, that would be so cool. Maybe that's what we need to start.
Merry mint. So good. What a great Christmas tea. We find out that the mother who has passed away loved music, but he has a rare talent. Why doesn't he sing at home? And
first of all, the rare talent that she's heard for 5 seconds.
He's like, Mom and I used to sing all the time. We have a record player. We put the records on. We'd sing all the time, but I don't really do that now. And she's like, was your mum really good? Because, like, you're good. Is your mum good? He's like, no, I don't really know where I got my talent from. And then we find out.
Are we saying the plot twist yet?
Should we? It might help.
Okay. Well, it's almost...
It's almost there.
Oh,
I want to wait.
I feel like we need to wait, because then there's a conversation that happens before that.
So they're all wearing like Christmas. I just wish we could wear Christmas sweaters.
I know.
It would be so nice.
Yeah.
But it's so hot.
It is.
We don't get that. But I just, like, it's just so cute. I wish we could do it. I just wrote, everyone's very nice. Like, everyone is very nice in this movie. There is nobody that you're like, what a douchebag. Yeah. Yes, there are some jerky moves. But
they're always done in such a polite
nice
way. Yeah.
I just wrote, of course, there's a severe weather warning because how could we not have the lyrics to Let It Snow in there otherwise?
Yeah.
I really like the acting. The record player was stunning. It's this old record player with a nice little cabinet. It just was so nice. And then I wrote, sing for us, Kristen.
Well, because she sings.
Yes.
Yeah.
She starts singing and I'm like, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Danny joins the choir.
Yes.
It's fine. He's in. The trip has worked. So Greg's like, sure, Danny, go join the choir. And he's there every day to pick him up in person. No other parents are around, just him. And him and Greg and Catherine get along so well. And he's like, okay, we're going to go, Danny and I are going to go to my work Christmas party. And Danny's like, actually, I want to hang out with the kids from choir. Why don't you take Catherine?
Yeah.
And I'm like, cute.
Yeah, you're
because
keen to set your
dad up with your choir director. Yeah. Okay. She goes to the party. She looks, again, a stunning dress.
She looks really nice.
She looks so nice. Yeah. He has his, like, moment of, like, you look so pretty. And then they're at the work Christmas party. And it is Greg's job usually to be Santa Claus. A job that he hasn't done since his wife has passed is kind of what it's alluded to. And Kristen's like, do it. You should do it. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then the work colleagues are like, but you also have to play Mrs. Claus. And they give her these glasses.
Yeah.
That make her just look so old.
Yeah, it's like looking at the photo.
Yeah, then I'm like, we could have not had the glasses. The glasses would have been fine without, we didn't need them. We find out at this point, they start having a chat.
Yes.
Walking home.
They do.
They start having a chat and we find out that Kristen's character, Catherine, has been married before, and is divorced, and before that, when she was younger and couldn't look after a baby, she put her baby up for adoption.
This was a very interesting moment. I was very torn about this moment because I was like, okay, I know I said in the last episode Hallmark pushes an agenda, but I really feel like they were pushing something here. I'm just not too sure what it was. I was conflicted because I don't want to get political, but we're
Why
gonna.
Not?
In America, particularly at the moment, there's a lot of debate.
Yes.
About abortion.
Yes.
And things like that. You know, you've got pro-life, pro-choice. It's a very dark time, I think, over there at the moment with this
particular subject.
And
lots of other subjects.
Lots of other subjects.
That's not what we're talking about.
No, but in this instance, and obviously this movie came before that, but, you know, I wasn't sure what side, not that there needs to be a side, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but she mentioned that she had made the choice to, like, put the child up for adoption, but a lot of the I think sometimes pro-life people get really confused because they say you have a choice to put up a child for adoption. It's like, you said the word choice.
Yeah.
You said choice, but then I think they really wanted to push in this movie the idea that you can have the baby and just give the child up for adoption. Yeah. So I was like, this seems like a pro-life angle, but I sometimes think that the pro-life angle gets a bit confused.
Yes, and also there's not a lot of like, we don't often talk in the media or in cinema or our entertainment about adoption either. Yeah. And there are lots, like, we have family history of adoption. Like, there are lots of families who are feeling like they are represented in this way, I guess, too. So it does, like, it's very easy to sit on, both sides. And I guess it wasn't really, like, the conversation that they have in this film isn't, they don't, like, delve into it. It's just kind of like, this is what's happened.
They say it, yeah.
And that is it.
But also just the fact that a Hallmark went, do you know what we can talk about?
Yes.
Like, premarital things happening and giving up a child for adoption at the age of, like, 16, 17, because that's when it happened, right?
Should have been younger-ish. Maybe
I
like
can't
20.
remember
But
maybe I'm, like, reading into it too much.
I mean, it's not, unlike, like, considering how conservative
I think
other movies have been, it's not unlikely.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that I know that Hallmark is traditionally quite conservative, but they've kind of they've moved away from that a little bit. They're still quite traditional and conservative, but they're not like what they used to be, and that's why that kind of opened up the opportunity. Again, I've brought this up 2 episodes in a row. Great Family Network with Candace Cameron Bure. That's traditional, and I feel like maybe I said the same thing last movie. I can't believe I'm repeating myself, but if this movie was in with that network, I feel like the conversation would have been a bit different. That wouldn't have been in there, or it would have, that maybe they would have worded it in a different way.
Like, more of an agenda.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe what we're getting is maybe Hallmark being a little bit more open to different storylines.
Yeah.
And
because this was 2019.
This is 2019. And I would hope that had this movie been made even like 4 years later in this year, which I thought it was, it would have gone like even a step deeper of like, oh, why did you choose? Why was that the choice instead of maybe another option? You know, but it doesn't really. We don't go deep into this at all.
That's why I wasn't really sure. I was like, oh, this. I think I was just like shocked, that it was brought up, and then that it was just like confusing because we've never really seen anything like that before in a Hallmark movie. So I was genuinely curious and confused, and I was like, I don't want to be that person who thinks that everyone's pushing an agenda, but
I mean, it's
but also at the end of the day, half the time people are just pushing an agenda.
Yes,
so
truly. What also distracted me through this moment, which is probably why I didn't really have a lot of thoughts or feelings about it, is that Kristin Chenoweth has a naturally southern accent.
She does.
Like, she slips into it often, and in this particular scene, maybe because he's listening to it, Scott Wolf also started to slip into a southern accent. And so then I was like, I'm now confused about where we all live.
Yeah. But she was doing hers throughout, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was just being herself, right? Yeah.
But there are certain words that it comes through a little bit more strongly than others.
Yeah.
And then we get a mid-movie kiss.
This movie, adoption, mid-movie kisses. Yeah. What is happening?
It was, and it's really not, and that's, I think, the whole movie just feels very natural. Like, everything's happening the way that it should happen. There's nothing's being forced.
No.
It was a very sweet kiss. She gets into a taxi and she's all smiling. Like, it was all very nice.
Yeah.
We go back to the choir the next day. Danny gets the solo, because I'm like, classic new kid gets the solo. Yeah. Not the people who have been there for every year.
But everyone was so happy. Everyone was so happy for me. If it was me, I'd be like,
yeah, well, it's like
bitch face.
When
really
Smash happened and Megan Hilty didn't get Marilyn in the first season, old mate did, and I was like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Look at Megan Hilty.
Yeah.
She is Marilyn, and also has done all the hard work. I had the same reaction. Again, people who have put in the work. It should
Kristen's
pay
very
off.
passionate about it.
It should pay off. At this point, after discussing with Greg about the adoption, Catherine starts thinking about she's like, I just want my son to be happy and have a good life. And now she's starting to wonder what that life looks like, because she hasn't really talked about it before.
Yeah.
And then she calls the adoption center to ask for information. Now, I don't know if it depends on the agreement that is made. You
can't necessarily.
But generally, well, at least in my experience, the biological parents can't be the people that reach out. It has to come from the adoptive child, the adopted child.
Yeah.
And both parties are allowed to say, actually, I don't want any contact.
Yeah.
So they're not allowed to tell. What would happen is she would call, she would ask the question, the adoption agency would then go to probably the parent of the child, because the child isn't 18, and be like, hey, the biological parents reached out. Depending on the agreement, if they've agreed to no contact, then they don't get, that has to be a question too. I'd just be like, hey, they've reached out, they want to know what their child's name is and what they're up to. Would you mind us passing this information? They say yes. Then it gets passed on. I don't know if that can come from a biological parent. That is a bit that I don't know. It's often the child seeks
I
out
always
the
thought it
information.
was the child, and I always thought that most of the time it was like a no contact kind of scenario.
So she's obviously reached out. The adoption agency has called her back, and she walks into a rehearsal with Danny, and they kind of have this conversation because, plot twist,
Here we go.
Danny is her son that she put up for adoption.
Yeah.
And he has known this whole time. That's why he turned up at the choir.
Yep.
That's why he encouraged the family time. He has known the whole time.
But so then how did he find out if he's underage? Like,
his parent, he knew. He's always known he was adopted.
But how? But to get that information though.
Again, I don't. So I don't know, because again, I assume, like from my own experience, is I'm not adopted, but like you know, is that yes, there has to be an agreement on both sides that both parties are happy to be contacted.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's movie magic.
I mean,
and it's different. It might be different in America too.
And I think you just gotta like let it go, because it is a movie.
It's
and
a movie.
I think the only two people in the world who'd be wondering
is us.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
But if Hallmark
can let us know,
like that, they probably won't. They'll be like, oh, honestly, just wrote it, and hope for
it's
the
a
best.
beautiful movie moment, and you're ruining it.
Yeah,
by
you're ruining it by
dissecting it.
We've ruined 2 moments. Like, why was she having a child so young?
Why?
Adoption? Pro-choice? What? How do you contact people? And they're probably like, chill,
Guys, you are gremlins.
It's a movie. It's a nice Christmas movie. Get over it.
Yeah. So now she's duetting with her son. Because, that's the other thing. She's written the finale. It's done. It's a duet. She's chosen Danny for the solo. That's the solo that he gets. But they get to sing it. It becomes a duet towards the end. So now she's duetting with her son, and it's this beautiful like moment. And now we know where he's gotten his talent from and all of this kind of stuff. Greg comes in as like, I just had to sneak a peek at the rehearsal because I can't wait till tomorrow. It sounds so good. Do you want to have dinner? And she's like, I can't. I'm busy.
Yeah.
And he's like, is it because I kissed you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sorry. She's like, no, it's just because like I need to focus on the concert. I'm busy because Danny has said I haven't told Dad yet, and
she feels weird. Yeah.
As you would. Like, you've just found your son after 18 years. You have fallen for his dad. Like, it's gonna be a little strange.
Yeah.
Greg tells, after Danny sings and is amazing and the concert goes very well and it's all very beautiful, Greg tells Danny, like, follow your heart. And he keeps talking about our plan. Like, if you don't want to follow our plan, you don't have to follow a plan. Our plan can change. And I'm like, it maybe just his plan.
Yes.
Because it's his life.
Very controlling in a way. He's a lovely man, but
he's a lovely man.
But it's just a bit too much.
Yeah, like it's very like we've only got each other.
Yeah. Well, now you don't.
There is a band playing in the finale of this concert, but we only see a piano. Again,
only we will point these things out.
It's a full band. There's a lot of drums. There's a bit of guitar.
Yep.
You won't see any of it, but you will see a piano. And that was very confusing to me. Because the kids have obviously practiced with the band because they wait for like a lot of the swells.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, is it more like just like from a movie perspective where they just fill it in to make it more dramatic? But if the choir's actually waiting for things to happen, then we assume that the band's actually there.
Band.
Yeah.
And then in the finale song, the costumes that we see in the ride share earlier in the morning are all in the movie are all angel wings because the concert is called Where Angels Fell or something. It has an angel theme to it.
These angel themed movies.
All the girls in the choir, or the female identifying people in the choir, are wearing angel wings. And all of the boys / male identifying are not wearing angel wings.
And
I was mad about it. only
If
KB
Chad
looks.
Michael Murray can be an angel, so can they. Only
Yeah.
women, or female identifying, only they can be angels. Don't you know that?
I know. Rude. I find it rude anyway. And then my last note, and I don't know. Oh, we didn't. Oh yeah, the conflict. We've gone through the conflict.
Yeah.
Is at the end of the duet, Danny's like holding Catherine's hand and looking into her eyes, and they hug after, and I'm like, nobody else knows that that's your mum.
Yeah, it just looks very odd that a teenager is being very, not handsy, but like just very loving with their choir lady. Yeah. Their choir conductor? Choir mistress? No, that's not a word. I don't know, whatever they're called.
Yes. But then everything works out in the end. Greg and Catherine get together. They have Christmas together. They live happily ever after, a big happy family. And she gets to be the secondary mum to her child. Which is kind of nice because she does say, like, I am, like, your mum is your mum.
Yeah.
I gave birth to you, but your mum is your mum.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Yeah, and that is one of the things that I liked is the talk of adoption, because I think it is, although maybe has an agenda to it, it is something that we don't get to see in a Hallmark movie.
I agree.
And it does open the doors for maybe some more discussion, only from the two of us, because we look so closely to all these things. But that's nice. I also really like the acting. I think the acting was so good. They had everyone had good chemistry. It was really, even like the side characters, like everyone just worked really well together. And there was no fight. There was no arguing. There was no fighting.
Yes.
Like even the conflict wasn't really conflict. It was just that, hey, I don't want to cross the line here because Danny wants to tell you this thing. I don't want to tell you this thing. I feel awkward about it. I'm just going to separate myself. And it lasted for like 30 seconds. And then as soon as he found out, we moved. You know, like... Yeah. And he was like, I understand, because that wasn't your information to tell. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
My three things, I actually have three. Oh my gosh. Is I really liked Kristen in this. I think she's just really talented. Yeah. And I think she plays herself.
Yeah, but she's so
But she plays herself so well.
Yeah. And we love it.
And so I really, really enjoyed watching her in this movie. Yeah. And I really liked the story. I liked that there were kind of two plot lines, really, but it wasn't confusing. No. It was, she needed to write a song, and she had like a romantic family kind of plot line as well. It was just like a really nice story, and I liked the angle of adoption. As you said, not too sure. I don't know why my mind immediately went there. I think just I was thinking of current day America and how divided it is, and just how passionate people talk about things. And maybe they just literally just wrote it in because they're like, this is a good plot twist.
Yeah, how are we going to get Danny into the choir secretly with his own agenda?
Yeah, so maybe most likely there was no actual political agenda. My mind just went there because and then I agree. I thought the acting was really good. There's always one annoying side character. No one was annoying. No one was bad. It was just nice to watch. Yeah.
Definitely would recommend putting this on your watch list. We counted Christmas trees this time.
I did count. Yeah. Did you count?
No, you.
I counted.
And I say we, but I mean Aya.
15. I only counted 17.
That's not a lot. And it wasn't. I think that is accurate. It wasn't huge.
It wasn't huge. There were definitely. That just doesn't feel right. Did I stop at some point?
No, I think because we spend a lot of this movie is spent in the choir room and in the
Yes, no, you're right.
You know, there weren't any Christmas.
Yeah, no, you're right. But the fundraiser,
didn't really have any.
No, there were a few. Yeah, and then there was a shop. There was exterior shots where maybe it was outside of the shop or department store or something.
And she had a tiny one in her house.
She had a tiny one. It just you often saw Christmas tree. They were even in his office. Yeah. What's the dad's name? Greg's office. It was maybe one or two. Yeah. But then because we were in there a few times, it was fine. So 17. And then in terms of a rating. Yeah. I saw your rating written down. Why did I go lower? I just didn't feel like being that generous.
I rated it 8.5 out of 10.
I rate 7.5.
Which makes it an 8.
8. That's still pretty good. I think I gave it a 7.5 because I don't know. It was really good, but I'm just going to be picky.
Return to Christmas. That's how, like, the 8.5 went to Falling for Christmas.
That's crazy when you think about that.
So, like...
I'm happy with 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I definitely... I would watch this again. I definitely would recommend this.
Particularly if you're a fan of Kristen Chenoweth.
And even if you're a fan of Scott Wolf, watch it. Watch the movie. It's a very good one. Yeah. It's a very good one, and it's a good Christmas one, and I think it's just nice. Yeah. It's a nice family movie.
It is.
Yeah. And it's Hallmark. So you should watch it.
Yeah.
Because this is the season to get them all in.
To watch.
But if you don't agree with us, or you would like to talk further on some of the topics that we talked about today, you can find us on socials at hallmarkedpod on Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at hallmarkedpod@gmail.com. You can share this episode with your friends.
Yes.
Or your fam, or the people that you know are
with
obsessed
Hallmark,
with Christmas movies.
You could easily email it to Hallmark being like, by the way...
We tag them in everything. At this point, they're probably like, guys, leave us alone.
I actually wonder if they've seen stuff and been like, okay.
Cool.
What
do you want us to say
What do you want us to do? Because, I mean, we have like looked at other Hallmark podcasts and the difference is...
We're not very nice.
Yeah. Everyone else is actually really nice, or they interview Hallmark stars. And like, if I was to interview a Hallmark star, I'd be like, so there was nothing else going on, and that's why you decided,
that's why we keep the air away.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't interview them. What made you do this?
How do
Desperation?
I do this?
Oh, yeah. Do you know
you
I do
would.
it? I totally would.
You would.
I would. Are you kidding me? Like, the acting doesn't have to be that good. Like, I've done acting, obviously, but, like, I don't need to focus on it too much, apparently. And it's, like, a 2-week shoot, and I could get a decent amount of money. Yeah, and, like, go to Canada for, like, 2 weeks.
And that's probably the answer you would be given by anybody else.
Yeah. I'm probably not the talent thing. They'll probably be like, I love my craft. It's like, babe, you're in a Hallmark movie.
I love it.
I'm doing King Lear.
I would happily... go on contract with you for as many years as you'll have me.
Yeah, look, I would too. I would. Regardless, it'd be hard though. If you think about it, if you did one, you'd be like, sorry, this is the scene, this is the dialogue I have to read. Oh, okay. Sure. Yep. No, we're all good. We'll read it.
Don't listen to the podcast after.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you could do like a series of just like, so today we filmed this scene.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, we'll see,
dream.
Guys. We'll keep you posted. And other than that, we've got one more episode before Christmas.
And then a New Year's.
And then New Year's
one. Yeah.
So, have a great holiday season, everyone.
Yeah.
I hope your shopping's going okay.
Hope you're feeling merry.
I hope you're feeling merry. Your Christmas trees better be up by now. That's all I have to say. And we'll see you on Christmas Day.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.